Welcome. So I'm here as the CEO of Fictionary, and Fictionary is software that provides a structured approach to story editing that makes every scene count. And ProWritingAid works directly in Fictionary, so you can story edit and copy edit in the same place, which is why I'm here. So today I'm thrilled to be hosting this session, and I'm happy to answer any editing questions you might have at the end of the session. But with us, we have Michelle Adams and Amy Cohen, and they're here to walk you through ProWritingAid's editing suite and help you discover the most useful reports as a writer. Michelle is the social media manager and digital strategist, and she's experienced in multifacets of digital marketing. And as the social engagement manager, and what a great job title. I want that job. It sounds great. With ProWritingAid, Michelle connects with writers all over the world, which also has to be a joy. And Amy has been with ProWritingAid for the last year and a half or so, working as a customer support specialist. So she knows the ins and outs of ProWritingAid and what her customers want and need and stuff. So I'm going to turn it over, and Michelle is going to start us out.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Michelle Adams from ProWritingAid. Thank you to Christina for the awesome intro. I do agree, social engagement manager is an awesome job title. I love doing it. I love doing social media and connecting with our community. It's so much fun, and I'm going to get into our different communities that we have on Facebook in a little bit. I'm going to first turn it over to Amy, who will walk us through the software itself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Amy. As Christina said, I've been with ProWritingAid for the past year and a half or so. And yes, I am the support lady. So if you ever have a question about, the sort of like the tricks to get the software working the best way for you, then you likely have talked to me or Michelle, who also works with our team. And it's just a great company to work for, and I'm very excited to walk you all through our software. This is the first time that I've led one of these, so bear with me, but I'm really excited to give it a shot. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to start by taking a look at the web editor, and I will just show you how to basically enter the software and then get using it.
So we should mention, if you have any questions while we're going through everything, please drop them in the Q&A box, and when we're done, we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about ProWritingAid.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. Okay, so this is just our landing page for our product. If you go to ProWritingAid.com, you'll come to this page. You can sign up for a free account, and if you sign up for a free account, you'll be able to analyze 500 words at a time of any writing that you might have. But beyond that, it's you have to be a premium member to run full manuscripts through our tool, and I'll show you how to do that. You sign in by clicking over here. There would be a sign in button right there. I'm already signed in, so I go straight to use app, and our web editor will open. And before we dive into the tool, I just want to go over a couple other things. We're going to do a basic tour of the tool so that ideally you'll be able to leave this webinar and go on to edit something using our software without any hesitation, or as little hesitation as possible, because it is kind of intimidating at first look because we do have so many options for how to use our tool, and it's deceptively, it looks more complicated than it is what I will say. So if you have any questions as you go along, again, I think Michelle mentioned dropping your questions in the Q&A. We'll be happy to address them. And I'm going to go over how to use the tool, as well as a couple of the integrations that you might want to use the tool with. If you're a Fictionary writer, you'll probably have the most success using the Chrome extension. Although I did hear that Christina mentioned she uses Safari. Is that right, Christina? maybe.
Yeah,
And
I'll just jump in there. Yes, it absolutely works in Safari. You just have to have the Safari extension instead of the Chrome extension.
yes, and I will go over briefly how you can toggle our tool on and off in the Chrome or Safari extension so that you can use it as you would prefer, like at your own will during your editing sessions using Fictionary. Okay, hang on just a sec. I'm going to reshare my screen. And bear with me just a moment, sorry. Okay, so just a little bit of background about the company. It was founded 6 or 7 years ago, when our CEO, Chris Banks, actually got into a ski accident, and he was taking a break from his normal job and writing and editing his own novel. And while he was writing and editing, he realized that during the editing process, he kept on coming across the same mistakes over and over again. So, being the person that Chris is, he fiddled with some software, some coding, and he created the first version of ProWritingAid, which basically pointed out where he was repeating the same mistakes without him having to go through the whole entire manuscript and do it himself. And that little seed was sown, and it's now become a very powerful tool with tons of reports. Some users of our tool describe it as like a great digital writing mentor that's just egging you on in the right direction. And it also has developed into a way to sort of get started with the editing process in a way that's not so intimidating, because looking at a whole manuscript and deciding where you want to start and how you want to approach your editing process can be just so intimidating. And so with ProWritingAid, you don't have to do that. You just upload your document into our tool, and we help get you started with where you might be struggling, whether it's grammar or style. And right now, we'll dive in and get started with how to go about doing that. So we opened the web editor, and you'll see this page if you have any documents saved. I have a few documents saved. If you don't have any documents saved, it'll open just to a new document screen. So I'm going to create one right now. You can create a new document by pressing this orange button. And waiting for this to load. Waiting, very important part of using editing software. I think it's probably going a little slower because of Zoom. Okay, so this is what it will look like when you open the web editor for the first time if you don't have any documents saved. As you can see, you can start writing. I do not recommend that. You can also use copy and paste if you want to just do a sample text. I also don't recommend that. As your resident support person, I can tell you that the most successful way to use our tool is to upload your documents into our editor and then export the edited writing back into your original document. If you copy and paste or write within our tool, we have limited means for retrieving your work, and we also can't always guarantee that it'll work the way that it's supposed to, because copy and pasting can drag some of the code from your word processor into the tool and muck things up for you. So instead, you want to click Upload a Document, and then you can navigate through wherever you work in your word processor and upload a document from there. If you're writing in Fictionary, you won't have to do any of this, but I do want to show you how to do this step, because sometimes it's better to just use our web editor if you really want to get the full range of all of the features. All right, so let's view a sample text to see how the tool itself works. We will start with the summary report. Oh, well, before I get into that, let me show you sort of how we navigate through our software. We have this very extensive toolbar over here, as you can see. And if you click over here, the other reports are in this drop-down menu. If you want to check for plagiarism, that is an extra purchase, or you can sign up for our ProWriting Premium, ProWritingAid Premium package, and then it comes with those checks. We have settings that you'll want to play around with to get, to match your writing style and your writing needs. We have document type, we have writing style, and we have a couple different options for English language settings. If you're in Canada, like Christina, you might want to click on Canadian English, and then you'll have all those nice couleur spellings and other things that are slightly different from American English. So that those are the settings. Just click here. You can toggle back to your reports. If you want to start out by using the real-time report, it starts automatically, but if you want to switch it off, you can turn it off that way, turn it back on. There's also a side menu over here where you can, there are a bunch of functions over here that I'm not really going to get into because we don't have time. However, it's worth sort of running through this menu and seeing what's available to you. It can help you with getting all of your quotes to be uniform, and it'll help you with, saving and some other functions of the tool. Now, if you are using the Chrome extension, I don't know that all of these are available to you in the Chrome extension, but I think that most of them are. So again, if you are using Fictionary and you're using ProWritingAid, you can feel free to shoot us an email too at hello@ProWritingAid.com, and I'll help you out. I'll help you figure out how to get the tool best working for your specific needs. So first things first, we do recommend that you start by using our summary report. The summary report is incredibly thorough, and it is kind of, like I was saying before, it's like a guide. It helps you sort of organize your editing journey. And you can start right away with what we suggest at the top, or you can jump around to what you're more interested in learning about. And you'll see that the summary report does sort of go along the guidelines of the other reports that are available in the app, but not all of them. It's really just a fantastic place to start. And you can sort of see if this is yellow, it might need some work. You want to get it to be in this green color. You want to get you want to get your colors green and not yellow, and your toolbar over, I think, to the left, as opposed to, well, actually, I guess it sort of depends on what's best for the specific report. But I think once you're right in the middle with this yellow, that indicates that you need work in some area. So it might be your grammar, and it'll sort of give you an overview of what you can work on in your text. There's a style check. I'm just going to speed through a couple of these because here is a cool report. So here's something that's unique to ProWritingAid and that we love, the Emotional Tells report. This is something that, so you can see sort of what the breakdown is here, and you'll get a description of the report within the summary report, and you can go back to your report and check on it, sort of see what we're indicating. But the thing that I wanted to point out was that you can, in your settings, choose to compare your writing to your favorite author, and that is pretty fun. People have a lot of fun with that. Now, here are a couple other things that are cool about the summary report. You can, I'm sorry, I think that was a little bit too fast, but if you see, I pressed on this I. If you simply hover over the I, like a little, blurb, replace some adverbs with stronger verbs to improve engagement. That's pretty straightforward. If you end up pressing on the I, it'll take you to a whole article regarding that bit of advice. which is pretty great. And I think Michelle might go over a little bit later about how to access this grammar guide all on its own if that's something that you are interested in. So that's one of the cool things. You can also press on any of the reports to get sort of more information, a more in-depth look at what we're talking about. We also use a lot of visual aids like Fictionary does. We find that that's incredibly helpful for our users to get a better understanding of where their strengths are and where they could use some work. So that's the summary report. It is a great place to start because, like we said, it's just got a lot of. It's a great place to start because it outlines the direction that your editing can take once you have uploaded once you're at the place where you're ready to edit. Let's see if I can actually get out of it. And I can. All right. Moving right along, the next thing that I wanted to point out is has to do with our real-time feature. Our real-time feature is kind of like it's basically our core reports that are immediately available to you. So you don't have to run the grammar and style and spelling reports separately. They're all right here. It's the most basic editing portion of our tool. And you can toggle between the improvements recommended on real time and the goals that are set out for you while you're using our real-time checker. Now, the goals are very similar to what you'll see in the summary report. Let me see if I can, they, each goal has its own target, so similarly to, I see someone has a question. I'll get to you in just a second, Pete. So yeah, it's the same thing with the summary report. The green indicates that you've reached your goal, and the yellow indicates that you're outside of your target range. And let's go back to improvements for a second. Let me see if I can. I saw a raised hand. Michelle, are you keeping track of those?
I haven't seen any question itself come in, so if you'd raised your hand, go ahead and drop your question in the Q&A box and we'll be sure to get to it.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Okay, so back to the real-time report. So I clicked on improvements, and we have spelling that is under, or if you have a spelling mistake, you'll find that they are underlined in red. You can hover over the misspelled word and this box will pop up. You can select the word that you meant to write. It changes right there in the text for you. You can also, you might come across something like this. Actually, I don't know how to spell Mount Rainier, but let's say that we wanted to spell it like this. You can add it to your dictionary. And in that case, it will no longer be counted as a misspelled word anytime that you go back into this particular document. With the purple underlining, that is indicating the passive voice, use of the passive voice. Now, I will say that there's a big caveat when using our tool. That's a general caveat, not necessarily a caveat, more so encouragement. We're not, the be-all, end-all grammar police. We know that you might be writing fiction or historical fiction, or you could be writing academic work or a scientific text. And in any of those cases, you're going to want to use the passive voice at some point. Our goal is to point out to you the patterns in your writing so that you can make the decision to edit accordingly. But we are not going, it's up to you. You can choose to, for instance here, ignore. And when you ignore that word or that that suggestion for correcting the passive voice, at that point, it will the software will remember your choice to ignore that particular rule into the next time that you use the software. However, it might not pick up on every single time that you use the passive voice. So, for instance, you can still see that some of the passive voice is being pointed out. She was stunned. There aren't any other examples in here. Yes, she was surrounded by passive voice again. So just because I ignored that one instance of it doesn't mean that it's going to be ignored fully. In order to do that, you can click on disable a rule, but we suggest that you are very careful with the disable rule feature, because once you disable a rule, it's permanent. You can't undo it unless you reach out to me at hello@ProWritingAid.com, and I can reverse that disabled rule for you. Okay. These are style. The blue underlined, the things that are underlined in blue are pointing out style. Things that you might want to change, or grammatical things, excuse me. You can, again, just press on it there. Let's do another example of this. Oh, no, sorry, I wanted to show something specific that is now not popping up. Okay, what I wanted to show you was that similarly to the summary report, you can click on this little orange eye to get more information about the suggestion that is being given to you. And this is great because I don't know if you're like me as a writer. When I get feedback, I sometimes bristle at the thought that someone thinks I should use a comma in that spot, or that I shouldn't use the passive voice, or what have you, or I might be, unfamiliar with the grammar rule that they're basing their suggestion off of. So what ProWritingAid has done is it gives you like a portal to all of our resources. And you can start by looking at the most pertinent resource available. So there might be a little video. There's probably a full article that if you click on, you'll be taken to. Again, this is part of our grammar guide. So we have all of these resources, and they're built right into the tool, which I think is pretty great. You can see how that would be useful so that you don't necessarily have to end your or interrupt your writing flow, as it were. Okay, so moving right along, we've got our real time. We have the switching. You can switch between your goals and your improvements pretty easily. Again, just to reiterate, the goals work similarly to the summary report. They're just right in the actual tool so that you don't have to print out a summary report or refer back to it in order to get started. You can just keep it right there. However, if you turn off the real-time checker, which many people do, you won't have access to those goals. Let's start by, actually, let's check out some of our other more specialized reports, because we've got writers in this group. So this is a very useful report for any writer, but especially a fiction writer. Actually, any writer, really. It has to do with readability. And as you can see, by hovering over a specific paragraph, our tool will point out ways, or they'll point out how readable your text is. And we don't offer a way to reorient your writing or rewrite it, because that would, be, first of all, probably impossible. Second of all, would produce a lot of people who are just writing in the exact same tone and style. That is not our goal. Our goal is to help you, again, like take a look at what's working for you as well as what might not be working for you, and edit based on that information. So really it's gathering information about your writing style and who you are as a writer, so that you can, write and edit as best as possible. with these suggestions,
It's Christina, can I just interrupt just for a second? Do you know
sure.
that you're on the show introductory comma phase screen and not the app?
Oh,
It didn't flip over when you skip screens there.
it did.
Or when
Oh,
you-
thank you so much.
That was really thanks to Kara. She pointed that.
Ah, let's see what happened. Hang on. Bear with me. All right, we're back in action. I think, I hope. Can you guys all see?
Yes, it's there now. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So this is, again, this is the readability. If just to go briefly over from when I think that we dropped off, we have the real time, we have improvements, we have goals, switch back and forth, turn off your real time, and you can run the readability checker. And the readability checker is basically something to help you decipher how easy your paragraphs are to read. You can go through these by working with this side tool here, or you can navigate by, oh, no, I don't want to disable that rule. Or you can navigate by running through, hovering over the paragraphs and using the arrows to navigate to the next paragraph. So as you can see, this is a very powerful tool with many facets. It's very, very rich, and there are lots of different bells and whistles to use it. Don't worry, we also have very, very user-friendly how-to guides that, again, Michelle will sort of show you how you can look those up on your own, but we can also supply you with links to a couple of those at the end of the webinar. Okay. I wanted to say something about our reading scale. It might be deceptive. This is not indicating that if we're not saying that you want all of your books to be at a 6th grade level. And there's more information on the Flesch-Kincaid grading scale, again, on our blog that you can go into in depth for sure if you want to. But we are saying that you want to keep your reader engaged. So the idea of a readability score, it really has more to do with engagement and someone who can actually, and it's based on reading level at an academic level, as opposed to, saying oh, only 5th graders can read your work. You could be writing an adult novel, but you want the readability to be a little bit more, to flow more, to work better, and to be less complicated. So that sort of flows into the next report that I wanted to go over, which is the sticky sentences report. This is usually the favorite report of, I don't know, users, folks on the staff. There are a lot of different benefits to the sticky sentence report. However, I'm not going to go over all of them right now. Just going to show you quickly how to use the report and sort of give you an overview of why it might be something that you'd be interested in as a fiction writer. So let's take this sentence, for instance. The city was always shocking to her in its extreme beauty, even when she was surrounded by the majesty of nature. Hover over it. This is semi-sticky sentence. Try to reduce the number of glue words. What's a glue word? You want to go to this little I again and open up some information about sticky sentences. And it's basically just a rundown of sticky sentences are the words that are used most often and hold the least amount of meaning for writers. So they can sort of clog up your writing and make it very heavy. The examples of glue words given for this sentence, the, was, always, to, even, when. So you can sort of see what they're getting at. Of course, some of these words are essential. You're not going to be able to not use them ever. but you do want to use them as sparingly as possible. So I don't know. I put myself on the spot by saying I'd be able to edit this, but using the sticky sentence board. But you can sort of see how you'd take this information and then apply it to the sentence.
Do you want me to give a quick example of how to rewrite that?
I would love that so much, Christina. Please, please.
I will do that. So the city was always shocking to her in its extreme. Could be written as the city shocked her in its extreme. And so you change it in its extreme beauty, of course. So you just rewrite the beginning. So the city shocked her in its extreme beauty, even when she was surrounded by the majesty of nature.
Wow, look at that, folks.
Oh, already better.
Already better. Thank you so much for doing that, Christina. I so appreciate it. So that is the sticky sentence report. It's a lot of fun when you get into it. I highly encourage you to check it out. And at this point, we have so many reports. I wish I could go through all of them with you, but I do not have the time. I think at this point I'm going to hand over the mic, so to speak, to Michelle so that she can tell you about some of our resources on our website and the community that we have that she does such a great job to bolster and get people involved in. And then I'll circle back with the Q&A at the end and answer some more of your questions regarding the actual tool itself. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Amy. That was awesome. I will go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to begin with showing everyone my favorite column on the ProWritingAid website. And as a former teacher, of course, that would be the Learn column. So if you go here, there's a lot of really useful resources that you may not realize we have. So first, we have our blog, and the blog is conveniently broken down into different categories for you. So if you're looking for help on the writing process, we have you covered here. We also have a section on blogging and content writing, grammar rules, business writing if you're using this in an office setting. We have a writing apps section, how to use ProWritingAid if you are doing some troubleshooting or just trying to learn how to use the tool itself. There's a lot of great articles in here. And also for our teachers, we have ProWritingAid in the classroom. So we have a lot of teachers and students who use ProWritingAid, and there's a lot of useful articles in here for those two groups. So definitely take advantage of that. We post new articles daily, weekly. We have an awesome team of content writers, and they're constantly plugging away at getting new and useful content out there for everyone to enjoy. So then if we go back to Learn, the grammar guide. So Amy talked about the grammar guide a couple of different times. If you want to just come to the grammar guide itself, you can come to it straight from the Learn column on the website. And we have everything broken down into categories here as well. So grammar, punctuation, mechanics, and style. Each section here has articles with examples that will help you while you're writing. So for example, if we wanted to look at adjectives, it's just a simple guide with 500 examples of adjectives, no biggie. You can go in here and get all kinds of information, and a lot of this stuff we learned in elementary school, and so for some of us, elementary school was a long time ago. So it's nice to have just a refresher. It's nice to kind of dive in a little deeper into some of these concepts that we may have just briefly learned with worksheets and cartoons, Schoolhouse Rock, that kind of thing. We go a little bit further in depth, so it can be useful for writers of all levels. So even if you are an old pro at writing, you might still want to brush up on some grammar tips. Nothing wrong with that. So you can come to the grammar guide and get all of that information here. And next we have in the Learn category, we have our webinars. So if you came to the registration page for this webinar today, you were likely brought to a registration page that looks like this. So this is the website or this is the page on the website that will show you all of our upcoming events that we have scheduled. So our next session we have is actually tomorrow, and that is Self-Editing School with Joellen Nordstrom from First Editing. And she's with us every month to do a session on self-editing. So if you wanted to register for that, you would simply click on register, and it would take you to a form to fill out, and then it would send all of that information to your email. So you can do that for any of our webinars. They're free. You do not have to be a ProWritingAid subscriber to attend. They're literally for anyone who wants to learn. And if you would like to see any of the sessions that have already occurred, you would just click on recordings of past events. And our past webinars page has the YouTube links to the replay videos, and we upload those replays within 48 hours, usually within 24 hours of the webinar occurring. So we put them on our YouTube channel, ProWritingAid TV, but we also keep them right here. So earlier today, we had a Fictionary walkthrough with Christina, and that replay will be up here tomorrow morning for everyone to enjoy. So we try to stay on top of that as best we can, because we have a lot of awesome sessions and we want to get that information out there to everyone as fast as we can, because we know everyone's on different schedules and different time zones. So you can go there to look at anything that's upcoming or has already occurred. And the last thing we're going to show you on the website is the ebooks page. And if you are a premium or premium plus ProWritingAid subscriber, you can access any of our ebooks as part of your subscription, so you wouldn't have to pay any additional fee to read these ebooks. If you are not a premium or premium plus subscriber, that's okay, because you still have 2 ebooks here that are free to download, and anyone can download these. The first one is the 20 editing tips from professional writers. You can download it just by typing in your email and pressing free download. And the next one is everything you need to know about using ProWritingAid. So if you are just wanting to get a little bit more information on ProWritingAid, in addition to reading the blog articles, this ebook is an excellent resource. It will walk you through how to use the entire self-editing tool. So you can go through here and download it as well. We have a lot of different ebooks. These ones under here, you'll see that it says premium download, or you can also buy them on Amazon. But once you are a premium or premium plus subscriber, you can download any of these as part of your subscription. So there's a lot of great stuff there. I briefly mentioned ProWritingAid TV. I'm going to show you our channel now. So we have almost 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have different playlists that are broken down into categories to first help you use ProWritingAid. We have a lot of videos here on how to use each report, how to do things like changing your document's language, how to adjust your email notification settings, pretty much everything in between. So if you have a question and you prefer a visual aid, we highly recommend checking out the How to Use ProWritingAid playlist. There's a lot of information there that could be helpful to you. We also, as I said, post all of our webinar replays. We have the free live training sessions for writers playlist here. So you can go back through and see hundreds of replays on sessions that we've had with some really amazing speakers from a lot of writing type organizations and authors themselves. We have one of our favorites is an interview with fantasy author TJ Klune. He was just such a delight to speak with, and the head of marketing, Lisa Lepke, got to interview him during our Fantasy Writers Week that we had this year, and he was just fantastic. So if you are familiar with his works, or if you're not, check out that interview for sure. You will enjoy it. We have other videos here from people in our community, other influencers who have reviewed ProWritingAid. And we also have education, grammar, and writing tips. So just a little, couple minute refresher on what is irony, how to use assonance in your writing, what is an ellipsis. So there's a lot of little fun tips and refreshers in there. And you can come in here and check out any of these videos for free anytime you would like. And we encourage you to subscribe so that you are always in the know of when we upload new information. And the last thing I'm going to show you today involves our Facebook communities. So at ProWritingAid, we try to really go beyond just being an editing software. We want to bring writers together, aspiring, published, self-published, everything in between, because you know, it's so much more than just words on a page. It's a community of users, and we like to bring everyone together as much as possible with different events. And as I've mentioned, the webinars, we've also had special week-long events. We've had Fantasy Writers Week and we've had Crime Writers Week, and those have also developed their own Facebook communities all around that genre. So we started out with just ProWritingAid Writers Community, and that is our main Facebook community of over 5,000 members. And we come in here every day and we ask different questions. We share different resources. Our members will ask questions if they're having trouble with a report that they're running, or if they just need some writing advice. And the community is so supportive and awesome with helping each other out and providing tips and tricks, advice, writing hacks, anything you can think of. And we try to get the conversation moving too. So this is just an example of what you would see. And you know, we just try to ask things that generate discussion and healthy discussion about writing, so we can just kind of build camaraderie and have an awesome time. So we start out with the regular group, and then we branched off into the ProWritingAid Writing Partners in Crime, and that has 1.5 thousand members already. And we have a lot of fun in here sharing different, especially with the crime and thriller genre. We talk about a lot of, you know, kind of gory things in here to do with writing, and funny things about, we share different funny memes about, like, oh, can you imagine like what government watch list I'm probably on with the things in my search history when I was writing my last crime novel, you know, all kinds of fun stuff like that. We do self-promo days in all of our groups. So on Wednesdays, we do self-promo in the crime writing group. On Mondays, that's self-promo in the regular group. And we also have our fantasy writers group, and it's ProWritingAid's Fantasy Writers Fellowship. And this came from our Fantasy Writers Week. We have almost 1,000 members in here. And we have our self-promo is on Friday in here. So that's one day a week that our writers can, you know, toot their own horns, so to speak, you know, share your links, talk about what your current projects are. And, you know, that's the one time when you can really try to gain some new audience from the people that you're already in the community with. So there's a lot of great stuff happening there. I highly encourage everyone to check us out, check out our groups, and check out all of the resources that we have online, because, you know, we really try to provide you with as many helpful resources as we can. And if you have any questions about anything or where to find this, please email us at hello@prowritingaid.com. Amy and I are in the support inbox all of the time, and we're always happy to answer any questions you might have about those things. So I see we do have some questions in the Q&A. Looks like we have one for Christina as well. Okay, so awesome. Amy, do you want to, I'll just let you take it away in there.
Well, actually, so first of all, thank you so much. All of that is awesome information. I love, one of the things I love the most about ProWritingAid is how community oriented we are. And so that's pretty awesome. I fully encourage everyone to come and join our communities. They're very fun. And I would ask that Christina, actually, if you are able to maybe show us how to toggle in and out of ProWritingAid when using Fictionary for the Fictionary users.
Great idea.
Oh, you're muted, Christina.
Well, I should learn how to use technology. Why don't you go to a question? And I closed everything after the last webinar, so let me go and open it up.
I figured that might be the case. Okay, so I can start with a couple of the other questions that we have. Okay, the first question from Kara, I hope you're still here, is what is the ideal length of a document to run through ProWritingAid? Will it take on a whole novel? And that is a great question with a somewhat complicated answer. If you are a premium subscriber to ProWritingAid, there's no technical word limit on how much you can edit with our software. However, the software works best when analyzing 10,000 words at a time. You will see literature that says between 10,000 and 30,000 words. That is true. However, there are some reports that take more energy, if you want to use that term loosely, to check. And so they will work better on a shorter chunk of text. My recommendation is 10,000 word chunks. And a lot of our users will break their writing down into chunks in their word processor and then upload it that way. However, there is one option to upload all of your writing at once into the web editor, and that is a feature called the chapter bar. Michelle, if you are able to, if you could drop the link to our chapter bar article into the chat, that is a very helpful article, and it'll walk you through exactly how to do this. It's only something that works with docx files, so that'll be Word documents and Google documents that are saved directly to your computer, your desktop. And it requires a tiny bit of formatting, but then once you upload it in, it breaks your work down chapter by chapter, and you can look at the whole, you can keep the whole manuscript in our tool. Other than that, stick to the 10,000 words and you'll be a happy camper. I see that Christina is back. Are you able to show us?
Yes, let me share. It's super easy. That's what I want to say first. So I'll just go back to, this is the thing that I was demoing an hour ago on a ProWritingAid webinar. And whether you're in Safari or Chrome, I mean, the first thing you want to do, if you don't have the extension, then you want to go to ProWritingAid site and download the extension, and then go, you go into the applications folder, click a button, the window pops up, it transfers the application into your application folder, and you go from there. So first you have to install the extension for either Chrome or Safari. This is Safari, and once you install it, you see this button up here is ProWritingAid. And here I have it disabled. So sometimes I want to work and I don't want to be distracted. I just want to be writing. And so I turn it off. And sometimes I want to be copy editing. And so I just turn it on. And then once it's on, and this is probably a terrible example. Oh, here, I'll show at least here. You can click here and it will show you the actual. Now I'm going to be really slow because this is only because my video is on. But there we go. So it'll pop you right into ProWritingAid, and any changes you make here get made in Fictionary. I'm not going to do it just because it's so slow with my video and this on, but normally it'll update right here. And so all of the features that Amy has shown you work in here. And it's really, I mean, it's a spectacular thing when you can have, you can see here, this is an example of a novel being started. And so it's done on a scene by scene basis. And so your whole novel is here with ProWritingAid here, and you can work through scene by scene and make all your copy editing changes in one place. Amy, does that answer the question you wanted me to answer?
Yes, that's perfect. If you are using Firefox or the Chrome extension with your Fictionary, then the toggle on and off button might be in a slightly different place.
Right,
it might be up to the right on your computer screen, but it works the same way. I really like that you showed how it's off first. You keep it off first, because I get a lot of questions in the support inbox. How do I turn my ProWritingAid off when I'm writing? And It's very easy. I think it's actually easier to turn it on when you're ready to edit. Like,
yeah, and so if you're writing a novel, I'd like to recommend that get your scene written. Don't get too hung up on every word, because it slows you down. And especially if you're in that creative flow, turn it off. And then once it's written, it's really satisfying to go back and use all of the features that it just, you know, if you have a bit of a process, it'll help you go faster.
Absolutely. And one other thing that I want to mention about the extensions is that you can toggle it on and off for specific sites, or you can toggle it off completely so that you can, you know, go about your business, online shopping, or whatever, your secret blog, and you won't be interrupted by ProWritingAid. One other thing that I wanted to show you really quickly that I did not show you before is this page right here. We have a ton of extensions. So of course, we're hoping that all of you are Fictionary users, and if you're not right now, that you will be after today. But we also have a Word add-in that connects with Outlook if you're using a PC, but not if you're using a Mac, although we do have a Word add-in for Macs. We also have an add-in for Google Docs. So you could use our Chrome extension if you are writing emails, or you can go into Google Docs depending on how your setup is, and get a more in-depth version of our editor with the Google Docs add-in. We also have, oh yes, if you are a Scrivener user, you can use our desktop app to write directly in Scrivener, and it's pretty seamless integration. It works very well. It also works well for Final Draft and a couple other writing softwares. So I just wanted to quickly show that page and mention that we do have a ton of integrations. So we try to meet the needs of as many writers as possible. And I just want to look at a couple of the other questions that we have. If you use the Word interface as your recommendation to still do 10,000 words at a time. So yes, it shouldn't have to be, but yes, I do recommend that. I think that it just the way that our tool works is that we are constantly connected to a lot of servers because our reports are so in-depth and complex, and also because we take privacy incredibly seriously. So all of your work is encrypted when it is sent to our servers, and our tool actually reviews the encrypted information as opposed to just straight up looking at your information. This is amazing for privacy. It is not great for things like, you know, if you want to edit 50,000 words at a time, or if you have your whole entire novel in Word and you don't want to break it up into different files. I would suggest just doing it anyway. I personally think it's worth it, and I think like a lot of users find that it is worth it. I'm not sure how it would work in Fictionary. I think that if Fictionary, for instance, breaks up your writing, right, into different sections. So those sections are all that's going to be analyzed at once. You can also, if you are set on using Word and you really don't want to break your writing down into 10,000 word chunks, you can highlight sections of text. And I saw another question about this with using the Firefox extension. You can highlight a selection of text and run a specific report that's supposed to review that selection of text. Again, this is a hack. It is something that works, but it's not 100. You're not getting the full benefit of the tool. The full benefit of the tool is really if you have a document and you upload it into the tool and use it that way, or if you're in Word, if you make your Word file 10,000 words so that it's compatible and you're getting the most out of the product at that point. But there are different hacks that you can use to sort of work around that for your own specific writing needs and purposes. So that's that. In a document, can you highlight only specific words such as show me? Yes. Such as show me only the adverbs that are used in my document, or show me the verbs that are used in my document. I don't think so. Michelle, do you know if there's?
I'm not sure if you can do that. That is
I
something that
don't,
we can find out for you. However, if you would like to email us at hello@prowritingaid.com, we will be sure to report back to the rest of the support team and find out for you.
I like this question a lot, though. I see how that would be something that would be incredibly useful. And yes, anonymous attendee who just asked if you will get a recording of this. Yes, you will get a recording. It'll be posted very soon on our, I think you'll get an email with it, but it will also be posted on our YouTube channel. Okay, if you hit the disable rule button while working within a project, is there a button in settings that shows what rules you have disabled? Other than contacting support after such a mistake, is there a reset button to return the program in to include all grammar rules? No. This is another thing that is just, it's just the way that the software is built. If you do disable a rule, it's not that big of a deal. If you want to undo it, just send us an email. It literally takes 2 seconds. And some people like disabling a lot of rules. If they're working on a specific project, they go ahead and disable a ton of rules. And then when they're done with that project, they reach out to us and they say, hey, can you re-enable all of my rules? No problem. It would be an incredibly complicated and hard to interpret list if that was included in your settings. So be thankful that you don't that you don't have that option in your settings. Although I do totally understand the desire for that to have that capability. So those are all the questions that we had from Q&A. I hope that this was fun and informative. And if you have any questions regarding not just you know, an issue that you have with downloading or getting the app, but also how to use it, please feel free to reach out to us at hello@prowritingaid.com. We've got a great support staff that will help you find the right article, find the right how-to guide, anything that can help you get that can help you use our tool and get you editing and writing as the best way that you can. We've got the resource for you, so don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, thanks everybody so much for being here. Christina, thanks for being here with us. Amy, thanks for your awesome demonstration and walkthrough. We hope this was super helpful. And like Amy said, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can message us on our Facebook inbox as well. I monitor that. If you have any questions about our communities, I'd love to chat with you. So with that, have a great rest of your day, evening, night, wherever you are, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, ladies. That was awesome.
Thanks so much, Christina.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.